So, Sean, it won't come as a surprise. First thing, break down the top two quarterbacks and what are they doing right? Where do they need to improve upon?
I'll start with Nico. Nico's really, really talented. He's had a pretty good fall camp so far. It's been a lot of ebb and flow for him, ups and downs. But what he does a really good job of is when he makes a bad decision or a couple in a row, like his resilience and respond to that to come up making a good play after that, it shows his maturity. Maybe some days it's fast for him, some days it's not, but he's improving each and every day, and proud of where he's at right now. Garrett's athletic. Y'all all know he can use his legs to help us out. He's really improved with his eyes. The next step we got to do is we got to get him to, not think as much and just react. We have rules of the plays. Sometimes he goes out there and he goes, I think, I thought. And, if we can get those plays eliminated, then he's got a chance to be really good as well. So pretty pleased where we're at. We still got a long way to go, but I think we got 22 days, so that's plenty of time to get to where we need to get to. I'm happy where we're at this point in camp.
The experience that Garrett gained last year, playing significant football, how much does that help?
Well, there's no way it hurts. So with him, I would say that experience is going to go a long ways with his development. He's been in the fire. Even with Nico, the 2.5 quarters he got to play versus Oklahoma State, it's priceless for him. I mean, he's been in it. He's done it. He's probably done it in the toughest elements you could do it in that monsoon we had, and executed at a pretty decent level. So I think with both of them, it can only help.
The mistakes that you're seeing, are they repeat mistakes or are they different mistakes? What are
most of the time, so every day we have a new install. All right, so I would say probably we're sitting about, probably about 95% of the offense installed after today. So most of those mistakes, a high percentage of them are on the new stuff for that day. I can probably say, you can probably count it on one hand how many repeated mistakes we've had. And the last time I coached quarterbacks, that's a drastic improvement. Because before, 2 years ago when I was coaching them, we were making the same mistake over and over and over again, and you're just not seeing that right now. And that's really why I'm pleased where we're at. Do we have a long way to go? Yes, but when we correct it, they do a really good job, probably 90 to 95% of the time, of trying not to make that happen again. Now, it's going to happen every blue moon, but they're much better when it comes to that.
Is there an ideal time to decide on a starter so they have enough time before the opener to?
Yeah, I mean, that's Coach Brown's decision. No, same place. Because both of them are athletic. Garrett's a little bit faster, but Nico can run. So they're running the same plays out there.
Does that make this camp and even the spring and the whole quarterback battle that you kind of knew was going to go on for almost a year easier on you because they're very similar quarterbacks, besides like right and left?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. I mean, it's easier on the offensive staff when you're trying to plan practice, because if you think about it, what was it, 2 years ago when I had the quarterbacks, we had Daggy and Garrett. Well, that's two different plans, So, no, it's the same plan, and we're just trying to log reps, and each of them are getting the same amount of reps on each play, so it makes it easier on us.
Sean, the
Yep.
part that we saw today, there was a couple of Eric Rose, but we didn't see the entire practice, so it's not fair to judge. So,
Yeah.
I guess what do you see? What do you think?
Well, I had a pretty good feeling those were going to happen. It's the first time we've really practiced red zone all camp. So, when you get down in the red zone, those windows get tighter. There's an extra defender called the back of the end zone. So, I kind of expected it. We're going to do it again tomorrow. What I'm going to look for from them is improvement, not making the same mistakes and understanding that the ball's got to come out on time. And, you may not have that extra half second like you do in the open field to get that same completion.
You dealt with a quarterback like Garrett before. I mean, a little bit small in stature, but obviously very fast.
Yeah, we had a kid, Caleb Barker at Troy, probably maybe an inch or so taller than Garrett, but same type player, could run, quick release, big arm. So we've had that same kid before.
What point do you start narrowing down and throwing out the stuff, this doesn't work, or, yeah, this looks good? When does that start happening for you?
So our mindset on fall camp is we want to try to run everything that we think we may use at some point in the season. Okay, so, probably 60% of it may only get used for, let's say we play Pitt. We run a play out here. We may only use that versus Pitt, or we may only use those plays versus even front teams, or we may only use those plays versus odd front teams. So it will narrow itself down based on each game plan each week, if that answers your question.
Right.
Sean Boyle, what's his development been like?
I'm really pleased with Sean. He's come a long, long way. I don't know if he could – he struggled with his accuracy the first week of camp, but he's gotten a lot better. I think it's slowing down for him a little bit. He's more comfortable. He's done a really good job, you can tell, on his own of studying the playbook because his eyes are starting to slow down. The first week he was all over the place. But the last 3 practices, he's had pretty good days. So I'm pleased where he's at.
Obviously, the more familiar receivers and quarterbacks are, the better they get.
Right.
With the movement in college football today, and you're a perfect example of it.
Yeah, I mean
Does that hurt the passing game to the not so much just your situation, but just overall in college football? It used to be throw. Now it's a little different.
Yeah, I think what you got to do is you got to look at the summer. What the NCAA allows us to do, and they've got to get their timing down in the summer before they get into fall camp, and then you're just trying to fine tune it. But I think with the portal now, you probably got 99% of your team come June. June and July is where the timing has got to come into place, and then you're just trying to fine tune that timing in fall camp.
What was it like last year for you not doing the quarterbacks?
I just love coaching ball, and I think I told y'all this last year. I mean, this is my 25th year, and 24 of them I've been hands-on with the quarterback, whether it be quarterbacks and running backs or quarterbacks and receivers dating back to high school coaching. It was really the first time I coached tight ends, but it's not a whole lot different coaching the tight ends than it is quarterbacks because they're both involved in the run game and pass game. So if that answers your question.
Did it provide a new perspective or anything like that?
I tell you, I had a lot of fun last year coaching tight ends. I probably had the most fun in a long time doing that just because it was different and it was a new challenge for me personal, but I really enjoyed it.
How the guys' arms? I know you get that point at camp where you throw so much. Are you at that point you have to start taking care of them a little bit, or are they still okay?
They do a really good job. So we probably average between 150 and 200 balls a practice on a normal 2-hour practice day. Now, we threw less than that today. Obviously, it was shorter practice, but we don't throw at night. If we do, it's no more than 10 to 20 balls. So we do a really good job. Coach Mike has an unbelievable arm care system that they go through multiple times a day. So we haven't really had many arm troubles since I've been here at West Virginia because Coach he does a phenomenal job.
Scrimmage tomorrow, what can you learn from that for the quarterback position and offenses as a whole?
Yeah, I just think it's playing football. Like in practice, you've got those drills, whether it be third down pup or first down play second or red zone. Well, in a scrimmage or where you play a quarter, all those can come up at an instance. And what I'm looking for is a quarterback understanding that situation when it's not told to you before the period begins. And that's where we got to grow. Like we did a first quarter the other day, a lot of good teaching in that. And what I want to see on Saturday is can they take that teaching and put it into that scrimmage. And if they can, then we'll be right where we need to be.
Along those lines, a good scrimmage for you tomorrow for your quarterbacks will be what?
Decision making. 100% decision making. And I'll tell them they don't know this yet, but I am looking for 90% grade or higher on all decision making. That's run reads, RPOs, pass game. Now, is that completion percentage? No, because there's a lot of factors that go into that. But I want them to be 90% or higher on decision making on what they're supposed to do with the football. And if we can get to that point, then we're going to be just fine.
Where have they been to this point?
We're sitting, from day one to here, the whole room is probably, I want to say we're around 86% with all 5 quarterbacks. I don't have the numbers in front of me to tell you individually, but
Nico and Green, would it be a jump to get to 90, or is
no,
that-
they're pretty close. It's doable. It's really doable. Actually, each of them I think have had, somewhere around that mark in a practice on an install day, which is pretty tough. So I think, with the scrimmage being the playbooks open for everything we've installed, it's going to be a stretch, but I think it's doable to get 90% on Saturday.
Just thinking of skills that quarterbacks need, and there's a lot of them vary from arm strength to running ability to decision making to whatever else it might be. Put those together, and where do they fall in order?
Ooh, well, I think it varies from player to player. For instance, if you've got a smart kid that can run, then you put intelligence first, accuracy second, being able to run third. If you got a kid that maybe not as smart, where the coaching staff has to be smart for him, then you'd go probably accuracy, being able to run, to being smart, kind of in that order. But it just really depends on the player and what you're trying to do with him, because you got to build your offense around your quarterback, your running back, and your O-line.
Arm strength, accuracy.
Yeah, probably accuracy ahead of arm strength, because you can have not a very strong arm, and if you're accurate and on time, you can make up for that. You can throw it through a wall, but not be able to put it within 5 yards of a wideout, and that's not going to do you any good. Right. So I would put accuracy above arm strength.
Where do you keep Garrett's enthusiasm? I mean, obviously he's an effervescent guy. You want him to play with that, but there's a line there too. So
There he is, and that's what he's probably worked on the past couple years. Even back when I had him 2 years ago, he's such an emotional player, and he's still working on it today, and he is night and day better than 2 years ago when he was a really young buck here. But it's controlling that emotion, because you don't want him to stop being emotional, because that's what Garrett is. But it's controlling that emotion. Like today, he overthrew a cross route and he dropped his head. Well, everybody knows it's an incomplete pass. You don't have to let everybody know you just messed up. Like, play the next play, keep your head up, move on. And that's what he's got to continue to work on. He's a lot better at it. We still got to fine tune that in a little bit.
Coaching green grass a little differently with these two guys than you have in the past.
Maybe a hair. I wouldn't say it's textbook different, but you give them parameters and you give them rules of the plays. But then at the same time, you don't want to handcuff two athletic quarterbacks like we got. So you kind of let them ad lib a little bit more than maybe we did in the past with a Kendall or a Daggy, where it was, hey, it's got to be like this. So you got to let them make plays, but you got to keep it in the boundaries of what you're trying to do.
I mean, that ad lib could be a touchdown.
It could be. And the only thing I talked to him about, and we've been working on pocket presence a lot, and they're getting better, is we want to be moving up in the pocket with our eyes downfield. We get to read 3 or 4 based on the play, then we got to go. And they've got the green light to go. But we need to be working up in the pocket, not so much laterally. And that's where we're still got to improve on.
Game day, when you're up in the box, what are the things you're looking for, and what are the things you're relaying down to the?
So basically, I'm the eyes for Coach Brown up there. I'll be playing the quarterback from the box just so I can talk to him when he comes off the field. But I relay down a distance, hash, and help Coach Brown out any way I can, whether he's looking for a play or whatever. So.
how much do you give the ability to make checks, and is it different with this group than some of your recent past quarterbacks?
We're not really a check. The quarterback doesn't have a lot of checks that he can do. He can tag routes. We'll game plan, like maybe run checks into certain looks. But a lot of our check stuff is what we call check with me, where, the quarterback gets up there, basically a freeze play. We look over and change play, but we don't give our quarterbacks a whole lot of leisure in checking plays. They can tag routes and maybe check a run to a certain look, but pretty elementary when it comes to that.
You're busy on Sundays and don't really get to watch the NFL a heck of a lot. Does that kind of help you? Because you don't really have pro quarterbacks back here. Might drive you crazy watching Breeze operate and go have
Yeah, well,
practice.
yeah, those guys been doing it a long time. Okay, you know, we're sitting. I mean, really, we got 2 young quarterbacks when it comes to experience. So, you know, I don't really compare them in that way. We're just trying to be as good as we possibly can be between each one of them.